Hello again. Oh, Jorida. Jorida. It is over. Everything is over. It's fine. Everything is fine, honestly. Everything is fire. So today I would like to talk about the future of marriage and what I imagine risk assessment looks like going forwards and how our society is going to devolve back into polygamy. Ooh, that's an interesting concept, right? Ooh, that's a word. That's a buzzword, polygamy. So what does that really mean? And so, you know, you might think that sounds like some futuristic, nihilistic, doom-pilled, sort of shenanigans, right? What are you talking about, Snide? Are you crazy? And the answer is yes. But I'd like to at least attempt to explain it. But now, a message from our sponsor, Coffee Drinking Sounds, because I need my liquid caffeine in my body to function. That was our sponsor break. On to today's topic. So, those of you might understand that going forward, the relationships between men and women are so frayed at this point that there isn't really any logical solution, right? As you may have noticed, people as a whole and interacting with people is virtually pointless. And interacting with the opposite sex is at times dangerous. Men and women are so far apart now. And dating has devolved basically into, one man having a rotation of women that he, selectively dates or sleeps with depending on the man and his preferences. And that's the reality of the situation, is it's, one guy with a harem of women that he meets through dating apps or whatever sort of speed selection mating process you can say. And that the standard for women now is at the point where basically they're not going to settle for anything except Chad and Tyrone. Which, you can lament women's standards and you can lament all of these things, but in reality, this is normal. This is, monogamy and the previous arrangements we had in civilization was abnormal for the human species. The reality is, there is usually one guy in the village that gets to breed all of the women, and everyone else takes care of those children. Now, that's not right. That's not going to incentivize me to contribute to society, so I'm not going to contribute to society, but that's the reality of what it is. And as we go forward, within your lifetime, I guarantee, there will be a push to legalize polygamy. Why? Because the dating scene now revolves around basic polygamous relationships. There are women who all are courting the same guy. They call them spit sisters, even if you've ever talked with a real woman before. I know the horrors, I wouldn't advise it, but if you've ever talked with a real woman before, a lot of them have shared the same man at one point, or been on dates, or slept with the same dude. It's very rare for a friend circle all to have not slept with at least some of the same boyfriends, if not virtually all of the same boyfriends, right? So you have one guy passing around a heck of a lot of women, which is the reality of, what modern dating is and why it's bad. You have one guy with unlimited options who is not going to settle for any specific girl because he can have all of the girls. And you can have all of these women supplicating that one man. And that's the reality, and that's going to be the norm going forward. Like, things are going to get worse, not better. If you just look at cultures that are 30 years ahead of the West, for instance, like in Asia, South Korea, Japan, all of these places, you have this same sort of situation developing, right? And so, going forwards, how do men mitigate the risk, and how do we exist in a society like that? Well, a lot of us are just going to be out of it completely and just do our own thing. That, for the black-pilled, for the incel types, like me, that's easy. You just simply ignore it. You live your life and you have meaningful goals. You make XP go up in video game, right? It's not perfect, but it'll be good enough. There's going to be AI going forward in the future. It's going to supplement your need for compassion. There's going to be, all sorts of wonderful technology, artificial wombs, whatever, if you need to have a child, if you wish to pass on your DNA, all sorts of great things that are coming on the horizon. And, if the technology it doesn't happen in America because of a ban, like on AI, it'll happen somewhere else and you'll be able to get it. Like, AI is false, period. It can't be stopped. It can't be uncorked. It is coming, folks. And I am waiting. My waifu, I will make her out of clay. Dreidel style. It's happening. Trust me. But, until that point, and and that might be us. So what are the normies going to do? Well, they're going to resort to polygamous relationships. The idea, within our lifetime, I guarantee there's going to be a push to try and change marriage so that it can be between one man and multiple women. You're going to see everyone become Mormons, basically, and when you start to analyze how divorce works and how the solution to these corrupt family problems starts to present itself in a way that makes perfect sense. So if I'm a man, right, and I am Mr. Big Player, I don't like the idea of getting married to a single girl because I'm losing all of my options. I'm losing all of this potential fun that I could be having, right? There's a whole host of fun out there. But if I can get married to multiple of these girls, I'm suddenly way more incentivized to do it. One, because divorce now is suddenly taking a smaller percentage of my total assets because there's still children, there's still another family that has to go. So each additional wife brings on less risk than the previous one. And I also am not really giving up my options because I'm constantly looking to add to my harem. And that's realistically what the future is going to look like for a lot of these alphas, is how many women can they accrue into their harem, how many of them will they be able to marry and then sire children from. And that might be the solution to the declining birth rates that everyone's crying about, and it might be the solution to the divorce and the equality between men and women. Because let's say if I'm a man, right, and I have 8 wives, and divorce then in that circumstance is going to be, she's going to gain the percent of the assets of the household she would be entitled to, which suddenly, if I'm not losing 50%, but if I have 8 wives, for instance, and let's say we split it 8 ways, I'm losing 12%, suddenly that's a lot less of a risk, and the additional wives I take on then reduces that risk further, so I'm more incentivized to add additional wives to the potential. So the reality going forward is polygamy might be the most realistic option for marriages and for relationships going forward, especially from a man's point of view, because once you can hit 4 wives and you're only risking 25% of your assets per, they can all get rid of you to take 100 or 50 or however the math is going to work out, however the laws are going to need to be restructured, but you're risking a lot less of your total assets, you're getting a larger family, and you're getting more people vying and fighting for your attention, additional validation. If you're at that point where you can actually consider something like this, which the vast majority of us never will be, but for those men it's going to be great, and then it resets things. It's the inevitable outcome of the feminist matriarchy sort of ordeal. Polygamy will be the future. Now, as a moral person, I'm disgusted by this idea completely, right? Coffee. But I'm disgusted by this idea personally, right? I find it foul to even conceptualize such a scenario as being logical, but I can't see any other way in which marriage as an institution continues. People are still going to have to find a way to get married, and polygamy is still going to exist as the primary means of, relationship, just as it is now. When things revert back to the way they are, when human beings are just wild animals, this is what they're like. Disgusting, but that's the reality of the situation. These people are, just that, human being animals. They don't really think too deeply, and that's why we're in this situation. So I don't expect that to change. I don't expect anything about this to be fixed, but I do expect the laws to change and that polygamy to become legalized within our lifetime. And that might be the future. And if you want to, if you're capable of getting into that upper echelon where you can be the polygamist or whatever, it might not be a bad situation for you. And for the black-pilled insular that's going to need to rely on his AI waifu companion right here and right here, I can't reach it. There. Like there. Yeah, it might be acceptable. This seems like a scenario that I could tolerate and I could deal with going forward. Maybe you have some different ideas, but that seems to be the logical way this is all going to proceed. Maybe I'm crazy, probably, but, at least it's fun to think about, right? And that's what I like, is I do these for fun, and I like to talk about things that I find interesting in my head. There's a lot of gears that spin up there, and sadly, I don't know where they're going. But, like anything else that I don't know where it's going, I'm just going along for the ride. I'm going to make the decisions that I think are going to be best for me, and I suggest you do the same. Peace.